Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar video. This is going to be my next Avatar merchandise review, and this is for this particular Toph figure. So this is the Diamond Select Gallery Diorama line, and of course this is their version of Toph. She is the fourth figure in this line, which is now five. There's 5 characters in the line. So we had Aang, Katara, Zuko. Toph is up at 4. There is an Iroh, which is actually already out, but I don't plan to get the Iroh. But if you've seen my news videos from a bunch of months ago when it was announced, you know what the Iroh is. But anyway, the Toph one here completes our sort of set of one bender of each element: air, water, fire, and now we have earth here. So delayed quite a bit. Finally now out. I think the release was more like February for most regions, but by now this should be pretty much available everywhere, if anywhere still has it in stock, of course. So yeah, let's take a look at Toph, and then I will do a little bit of comparison stuff with the other 3 figures in the line. So as you can see here, it's a diorama, and that's the cool thing about the Diamond Select line of kind of statues, is that it's not just the character on a standard base. The base itself is a huge part of the figure. You actually get to see a lot of like effect part kind of stuff happening here, that it's Toph in a rather dynamic pose, but with a lot of like rocks, earth, and even, of course, with the kind of smoky bits, the kind of effect of the dust kicking up from her earthbending attack. And that's always been the highlight of this line, is that it's a lot more dynamic than a lot of the figures, which do tend to be a little bit more plain or standard. And it avoids the problem of Avatar action figures, where it can often be very difficult to pose the characters with the way they do some of the bending effects. This at least is a very cool thing to see, that it's Toph doing this big earthbending kick, and you can very clearly see she is sending this rock flying upwards. It's a big kind of area of effect. There's a lot of rock coming out here, powerfully done. Very, very cool. My criticism I think I would have of the Toph is just that I'm not sure how absolutely characterful of Toph the pose is. How many times in the show do we see Toph do a big earthbending kick where like her foot is above the level of her hips? Her style, most of the time, she rarely takes her feet off the ground, and then if she does, it's just some slight kind of pullback, and then she jams her foot into the ground to do a more kind of subtle attack. And she's able to generate kind of power with not a lot of big, heavy movements. This is more of an earthbending kick that I think you'd see a character like a Zinfu, maybe even a Boomy do, but it's maybe not the most Toph-focused thing to do. I get it, they're trying to do the big dynamic poses, and they got the idea of the big kick and the rock that she's sending up, and it might have been tricky to do a pose because her bending movements are a little bit more subtle than maybe some of the other ones. But let's get a close-up look here at it. So there is the face of Toph, and you can see, I think I like the way they do her kind of eyes here, where you can see it is the kind of foggy effect. There's the hint of a pupil there, but like not really. She does have a bit of a grin on her face overall. Her hair is of course very nicely done. The pom-poms on her kind of hairband, and of course her trademark hairstyle there. And a lot of the obvious details are pretty nicely picked out here as well, with her kind of like wristbands with the green and the golds, bits of gold, of course, on like her belt and stuff like that as well. And it's kind of similar with her feet as well, with the kind of ankle kind of bracers kind of that she has going on there. And of course the fabric is nicely kind of painted and sculpted here with the detail, including like her kind of standing leg that you can see in there, of course. And then just looking at the effect part a little bit more, you can maybe see it a little bit more up close here with the light kind of shining through a little bit. The difference between the stuff that is very clearly like rocks and stones, and then the more foggy bits, which are kind of meant to be dust getting kicked up, and you can see little bits of kind of paint to get across that effect of like it's dust from this very rock that's actually coming up. And there's a lot of fancy detail kind of going on here with this, that she's clearly, as usual from a kind of earthbending attack, you get the idea. She sort of stamps the ground, breaks it up, the rocks kind of rise up, and now she's done a big kick to send a lot of it kind of flying off. So I think it's really good, and especially for like the price of this figure, which is about like 50 to $70 sort of region, depending on where you get it from. I think there's been a slight price increase from the first couple of figures in this line, but it's in or around that, so it's like under $100, you know, relatively kind of big statue. It's not a tiny thing, of course, so it kind of that affordable but still kind of high quality kind of statue. I think it does a really, really, really good job overall. But yeah, that is the Toph, and we'll just wrap it up here with some comparisons. So I'll bring in the other ones. So our first gallery diorama, of course, was Aang, and as you can see him there, so it gives you a sense for like this is how they did Air. Very nice Aang. Next to Toph here, pretty good. If we bring the Zuko kind of here in at the front, there is Zuko with his firebending, of course. Very nice. Just giving you a sense for like, okay, yeah, they really go for it with these. And of course the Katara here. So there is Katara with her crazy ice and water effect part, obviously. I'll just kind of move these around a little bit to give you a bit more of a sense. Here's Toph and Katara together. And you can see like it is very, very dynamic in terms of like what's going on here. Very cool to kind of see everything going on with the group now that they're together. You know, I'm not sure about the best way to necessarily like pose them all as such. It's a bit of a kind of awkward one to maybe fully organize them all kind of properly, but you sort of get the sense for kind of what's going on here with this. But it's a nice set here just to see like the four main Bender characters of Team Avatar all looking nice. It's, you know, all their kind of late game outfits basically. Book 3 Katara, Book 3 Zuko, Book 3 Aang, and Toph's kind of classic outfit. On showing off their bending in very, very cool ways. Oh, actually, I just realized the Katara effect part here has come a little bit undone. Let me just fix that here. So yeah, the ball is meant to be sort of just there, kind of in between her hands. But yeah, super nice set of the characters, because again, a lot of the manufacturers primarily have focused on doing like book 1 versions of the characters. So the fact that like we do have a book 3 Katara here, it's a book 3 Aang, and obviously Zuko tends to get the book 3 focus in most of his depictions, of course, but it's really, really cool to see the set together here. And then of course, like I said, there is the 5th one, it's Iroh, and we do have the assumption that probably the line will continue. We're just waiting to see what they do next. Obviously, if you have these 4 in particular, the hope would probably be that like Sokka's up next and they manage to do something nice with him in terms of like maybe him holding a bunch of his weapons. And you know, with him, because he's not a bender, you can focus on doing something different with like the terrain on his base or something like that. Maybe they do a thing where like it's Sokka and Suki in the same kind of statue, where like the base is a little bit more simple, but you get the 2 characters. That's maybe some way to do it. That way at least you get like the 6 members of like Team Avatar at the end of the series, and that's kind of what everyone would want. But otherwise it's like, yeah, like Sokka, Suki, beyond that you're probably talking about like, will they do Azula potentially next after that? Then you're probably talking like Mei Tai Li, other past avatars, other versions of characters, that sort of thing. Didn't show you the bottom, but the bottom is just more of a kind of molding type situation going on there, highlighting what's going on. But yeah, very nice figure. And it's one of those things again where like I said, the pose is maybe not super ideal, but I can forgive it because at least it's an earthbending attack. You can see what they're going for, even if it's not super characterful. But I appreciate just how they go for something a little bit more dynamic for the price point that they have. And I think I admire that sort of ambition when sometimes a lot of the merch around Avatar can be a little bit plain overall. But yeah, gonna wrap up the video there. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on the Diamond Select Gallery Diorama Toph. Did you get it? What were your thoughts on it? And in general, what are your thoughts on the line, full stop, the Gallery Diorama stuff? I hope they continue it, but let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.